Hello and how are you all doing today? My name is Savior. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this video, and today I'm doing a combat guide for Mordhau, showing some tips and tricks that I picked up along the way while playing this game, in the hopes of teaching you guys how to be a little bit better, how to grow in skill, and be able to win some fights. So if you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel to support me, and just see future videos that I put out. Thank you so much for watching. Mordhau uses directional based combat, meaning that whatever direction you're moving your mouse is the way that your person will swing their sword. So if you're moving from right to left, that's where they'll move their sword. If you scroll your mouse wheel forward, they stab. Roll your mouse wheel backwards, they'll do an overhead slash. In combat, everything is timing based. You can only parry for a certain amount of time before you run out of stamina and have to lower your sword. So it's all based on judging the other person's movement, judging what they're going to do, how they're going to attack, and trying to throw them off the rhythm by doing things to slow down your attacks, such as a move called a drag, which is where you begin your swing and then immediately look out and pull the mouse back inwards so that the point of contact is longer than it usually would be as if you were looking straight at the opponent. When fighting someone one-on-one in Mordhau, you're often just exchanging blows one after the other to where one person will block and then return with a counter attack, which is when you immediately swing after blocking. Usually the opponent judges this, they'll block and continue with this back and forth, but you'll notice I land the attack with the drag, I do a feint move, so I'm constantly changing up my pattern of attacking, and then I finally end up getting the kill with one final drag. Vice versa, you can also use an accelerating attack where you begin your attack and then look the direction the attack is going to cut the distance between your sword and contact with the person. The last thing that you can do is morphing an attack where you begin a stab and then move it into an overhead slash or a side slash, or vice versa, doing a slash and morphing it into a stab. Again, this throws the opponent off the timing of blocking. Morphing is one of my favorite things to do in Mordhau because for some reason people often fall for it, especially the stab into the overhead. However, another great move to do that is super rewarding is what people refer to as punishing. That is when you backpedal as someone swings at you and therefore they miss their swing and you immediately retaliate by swinging, and you always land the blow while they're staggering from missing. Every fight has this constant back and forth of someone attacking and someone defending. You swing and you block. Then there's also what you're going to see here in a minute of a counter, where immediately after blocking you follow up with a swing that comes in just a little bit faster. Then again, that always can get repetitive and people can predict it and know what's going to happen. So rather than always just simply swinging for a block, you can stagger, and in that counterattack someone may go for a parry and immediately you get the hit. Earlier I mentioned this idea of feinting, and no, that is not passing out. That is when you fake a swing. So you click in your mouse to swing an attack, the opponent goes to block it, but you press Q immediately after clicking, so you fake it. Occasionally you face a good person like this and they don't fall for it, but even still, if you do it 2-3 times, you'll lose some stamina, but eventually they might give in and you get to land a hit after they stagger from that block. Also, a side note, be really careful of where you're walking. This guy gets totally surrounded, and as you can see, this doesn't look very fun. Something slightly different from a block is what's referred to as a parry, and that's what you just saw there, where both of our weapons collide in midair. It's a way of stopping an attack and also allows you to continue up with another follow attack. This can be very useful, however it's not always the most effective. Something that's similar and is way more effective is what's referred to as chambering. Chambering is much more difficult, and it's where you mirror the opponent's attack and it allows you to immediately follow up an attack. The reason why it's so useful is sometimes you can get this constant back and forth of chambering one another until someone goes in for a block rather than a chamber. However, if you chamber them, you're always going to hit through, even if they try to do a feint or anything like that to throw you off. Now, something slightly different, and I think is extremely useful and very fun in this game, is just simply kicking. You press F to kick. And it's especially useful against shielded opponents like you're seeing here, because one of the ways to get through their block is to kick them open, and if you follow up with an attack immediately after you kick them, they're stunned and you can often get the kill. Also, it's super satisfying to kick someone when they have 10 HP left and you kill them. Sometimes I feel like people forget about the kick and they just simply swing like what you're seeing here, and I just run in, kick the guy open, and he's dead. It's very rewarding. Now I'm just going to show you some clips of me using these different methods of attacking that I've already covered in the video. So right here you're seeing the drag. This is an example of someone who anticipated me to do an accelerate, and in turn I actually dragged backwards because he was running past me and managed to get a double kill right in the midst of it. So it's always good to be keeping all of these fighting styles in mind and remembering each and every one of them and changing them up. That way you're not always doing the exact same thing, because otherwise you get very predictable. Now again, we have things like we're going to see here the morph, where suddenly the person's falling in for it for the block. That's extremely useful in my opinion. I think it's the one thing that people fall for the most, even more than fainting, is the morph. And see your guy, he's kind of like mocking me, and it was really funny. You just run in, morph, one shot, kill him. So again, very rewarding. Always try to change up these tactics. Don't use the same thing over and over. Here's the punish, probably my favorite also, of just the idea of running at opponent, trying to sort of entice them to swing at you. So you'll notice I always walk forward. There's a guy trying to kick me and I punish him for that. But I always try to walk forward to draw them in and swing, and then I backpedal quickly to draw in their attack. Once they miss, I'm already winding up for that attack. Either cut off their head, kill them, whatever. Super effective. Always keep these things in mind. Try to mix them and match them together to get your most kills. Alternative ways to protect yourself in fighting are using your feet. Just using smart footwork where you move from side to dodge lunges like you might see here. Instead of going for the parry, I could have gone for the swing and easily killed this guy. But as you can see, you can also duck by pressing crouch, ducking underneath attacks, allowing you to hit the opponent. Speaking of footwork, this is something that's particularly very useful on frontline. Be aware of your surroundings, know the map a little bit. If you see people fighting, find a way to sneak around behind them like I did here. Teammates are fighting them in this building, just run through, get the kills, sneak behind enemies. It always gives you a chance to go up behind people. Here I hear that there's fighting on my right, so I run around, easy kills. And here again, there's a guy not aware, and if I would have just kept running the other direction, I would have missed this. So always be aware of your surroundings, see other opportunities to get the advantage on your opponent, to get behind them, get an easy kill like you see here. Alternatively, if you find yourself in a situation where you're chasing after an opponent, I knew there was a guy to the left, so immediately I turn around, start winding up an attack to bring it down and get the stab. You're going to see here this little funny encounter on the stairwell where I pick up the short spear and I'm kind of chambering this guy and going in for the stab. So be aware of your surroundings, know how to attack if you're in a small corridor, things like that. But what I was saying was the spin around attack. You're going to see it here where I'm fighting one guy and then I pretend to go for another opponent, wind up an attack, turn around, easy kill right there. The most challenging thing to do in Mordhau is fight multiple enemies at one time. Beginners and pros alike are going to have issues when you're facing 3, 4, 5 people at one time. The best advice I can give you is what you saw in the intro clip and you're seeing it here. When you're looking at one opponent, don't actually try to hit them, but spin around and go for another person. I have terrible aim sometimes you miss, sometimes you land them, it's all good. It'll allow you to survive just a little bit longer and actually manage to pull off quite a few kills when you're just being completely surrounded. In melee fighting, you want to keep your eye on the opponent's weapon. Now when you're fighting against an archer or anyone throwing axes or anything like that, you want to keep your eye on the weapon as it's flying at you so you can time the block perfectly. This actually helps you get better at blocking as well, but it's something that you have to kind of get the hang of, and at close range like you saw in the first clip, it's actually basically all luck, but as I get further ranges like the guy throwing the axes there, you can actually kind of figure out when it's going to hit and time that block properly, which actually helps you overall in your melee fighting as well as you're timing your blocks when fighting an opponent as you watch their weapon come at you. Now I'm just going to play for you a couple clips that I was recording where I was fighting, and it's just me kind of meshing all of these combat mechanics and maneuvers and different things together and show you how it can work effectively in a frontline game or when you're fighting one-on-one against people, and just what this can look like in fighting. This first clip's not as impressive, but it just kind of shows all of the mechanics in one little short fighting session, and you get swarmed there at the end. However, this next clip is one that I'm more proud of. Seeing all of the enemies in one spot and realizing, oh, I know a way to get around, get behind them. This could be really effective. Now this was super fun, super rewarding, realizing how many people I killed, and then as I turn around and their whole team's spawning back in, coming at me, being able to defend them off and fight, getting in some chambers and different things like that. Now, the other reason why this clip is also my favorite is it highlights the greatest enemy you will ever face when playing Mordhau on frontline, and that is the enemy of your own team. In the back by my own teammate. So there you have it. Those are some tips to help you get a little bit better. It covers kind of the basics of the combat and mechanics in this game. It'll by no means mean that you'll always win. You'll still get surrounded like I am here, and you'll die, and it'll be frustrating, but it's okay. The game's fun. You can't always win. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, click the like button. Subscribe to my channel to be seeing more content. I appreciate the support, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one.